Hello everyone, this is Michelle McQuaid welcoming you to our workshop today. I'm so pleased you've been able to join me to discover the 5 ways you can improve your wellbeing at work, no matter how busy you are. Now, it's my heartfelt hope today that I can save you some time, some money and some effort by opening the lid on the evidence-based tools I use to teach wellbeing in workplaces around the world. And I want you to have the very best learning experience possible during this workshop. So if you can, grab the playbook that we sent you in your registration email or just below this video and a pen so that you can make some notes as you go. And if it's not easy to get that playbook, don't stress out. Maybe just a pen and paper beside you will really help through this session. And if you can, I want you to turn off everything that might be operating in the background at the moment on your computer, like your email, Skype, iTunes, anything that's going to suck down that broadband speed, that's going to make the sound and the video a little fuzzy for you. And if you are having any issues with the video, you can click the gear icon in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen if you need to adjust the screen quality. And finally, and I know this one's a big ask, but I want you to silence your cell phone and shut the door if you can, and just really give yourself the gift of this hour to invest in discovering how you can more consistently feel good and function effectively at work. Not only are you worth every minute of this workshop, but you can't possibly give the kind of support that you're capable of to others if you don't make time to look after yourself as well. So when it comes to improving people's wellbeing at work, today it's very much a case of fitting your own oxygen mask first. So it's a special reward for investing in yourself for this next hour. If you stay with me all the way to the end, I'm going to show you the busy-proof, joyful ways to fit these wellbeing practices into what you and others are already doing every day at work. That's right, you won't have to add one more thing to your to-do list. So stay with me all the way through to make sure you can really walk away from this workshop and immediately apply what you're going to learn today. Now, to help see where you are right now when it comes to your wellbeing, I want you just to take a moment and reflect on a scale of 0 to 10 over the past month. How would you rate your wellbeing, your ability to consistently feel good and function effectively at work? So if 0 is, I've been struggling to even get out of bed, and 10 is, I've truly been consistently flourishing, where are you on this scale when it comes to your own well-being right now? And I want you to note this down in your playbook or on your piece of paper. On a scale of 0 to 10 over the past month, how would you rate your well-being, your ability to consistently feel good and function effectively at work? I also want you to take a moment and just get really honest with yourself. When it comes to improving your well-being at work at the moment, what's getting in the way? What's holding you back from truly doing the things you know would help you to flourish more at work? And I want you to note this down in your playbook or on your note paper as well. It might be that you feel like you don't have enough time to look after your well-being, or you're just not quite sure where to start. Maybe you feel like you don't have the support or the resources you need to make it work consistently. And perhaps you even feel a little bit afraid of what life might truly look like if you were consistently flourishing. Whatever it is, there's no shame in it. I promise you, I've probably heard it before. When it comes to improving your well-being at work, what's getting in the way right now? And then lastly, I know many of you have joined this workshop because you want to help other people improve their well-being as well. So if this is where you're at, what do you need to be able to make this a reality? What are you hoping to take away from today's workshop? Now, if you're clear on this from the start, it's going to make it much easier to spot this content or these tools when you see them in today's session. Or if I don't deliver exactly what it is you're needing, then please, by all means, contact us by hitting the live chat button here in the Wellbeing Lab and asking us for what you need. I promise I will do my very best to help you because I truly believe that the world needs more people like you who want to help others flourish. So how can I help you improve other people's well-being at work as well as your own? What are you missing? What do you need? What would help you support others in the way that you feel called to do so? Write that down in your playbook or on your piece of paper right now so we can see if we're able to deliver on it by the end of this session. So let's dive on in and see if I can pull that off. So let me assure you that you are in the right place today if lately you found yourself too busy to do the things you know it takes to look after your well-being. You're also in the right spot if you've been avidly reading positive psychology books and blogs, listening to positive psychology podcasts, attending positive psychology talks and conferences, but you're longing for a clear roadmap and a range of tested, practical, done-for-you tools to maintain your own well-being and to help others do the same. And you're in the right spot if you want to know exactly how to apply the science and research of positive psychology to common workplace situations for yourself or others, like finding meaning in a monotonous job, dealing with a difficult co-worker, or building your confidence so you don't have to cut out your tongue like the poor gentleman in this picture. Now, whether you're an employee, a consultant, a business leader, a coach, a HR professional, or a teacher, there are ways you can implement positive psychology into your work to help yourself and others consistently flourish. And the approaches I'm going to show you are relevant no matter what role you're in, no matter who you're working for, and no matter how busy you are right now. Genetic makeup and your circumstances do impact your levels of well-being. Researchers have also found that you have a built-in range for well-being. And just like you can maintain your optimal weight by eating well and exercising, you can live at the peak of your well-being range by investing energy and effort into activities that improve your ability to mentally, emotionally, physically, and socially flourish. And when it comes to your work, this may be particularly important, as in 2012, the Harvard Business Review reported that a growing body of evidence was suggesting that an engaged and positive brain is actually the greatest competitive advantage in the modern economy. For example, studies have found that when your mindset and mood are positive, you're generally smarter, more motivated, and thus more successful. That your performance on nearly every level, productivity, creativity, and engagement improves. That you perform better in leadership positions, generally get higher ratings from your peers, and as a result get paid more money. And that you'll take less sick days, you're less likely to quit or become burned out. A global HR leader said to me, "Michelle, that's all well and good, but where's the roadmap to helping people flourish at work?" Now, of course, scientists are still hotly debating if such a roadmap exists, but one of the most popular theories in recent years is that proposed by my professor, Martin Seligman, who believes in order to have well-being, to consistently feel good and function effectively, there are 5 pillars in particular that you want to be cultivating. The right levels of heartfelt positive emotion, the opportunity to be engaged in what you're doing each day, the ability to cultivate positive relationships, the belief that what you're doing has meaning, and the resilience to accomplish the things that matter most to you. And this is often referred to as the PERMA theory of well-being. And in some work, including my own, you'll see a H being added at the end sometimes for health, the ability to eat, move, and sleep well. But today, I really want to focus just on these first 5 pillars, as I find that these are often the ones people are lacking tools to be able to build at work. Now, all that sounds simple enough, but the reality is, if using positive psychology to maintain our well-being was easy, then we'd all be flourishing by now, and we're still not. I've into the toolkit, I want to get really honest with you about why this can be harder than it looks. Now, firstly, the science isn't proven. Now, that may sound like a strange thing for a positive psychology and wellbeing teacher to tell you up front, but my intention first and foremost is always to do you no harm. So the truth is, good science is never proven. And when it comes to studying human behaviour, even the very best studies can only tell us what works for some of the people, some of the time. You can gain insights, you can get inspired, and you can discover practices that you can try through the science, but you're going to need to play with these approaches and pull them apart to discover what works best for you, in your world, and for the outcomes that you want. You need to be an intelligent and active participant in shaping your well-being. Secondly, improving your well-being does require regular practice. Now, just like eating one piece of broccoli isn't suddenly going to make you healthy, or going for one run won't suddenly make you fit, improving your relationships at work for one day isn't really likely to help you to consistently start flourishing. I know, it's a bummer, right? The good news is I am going to show you how to make these practices the most joyful part of your day. So rather than being a chore, I promise they'll start to become the things you look forward to doing. And if you have to skip a day, you'll actually start to miss them. It's important that you understand that you are wired to adapt to almost everything in your life. And this is why the thrill of victory and the pain of defeat never seem to last as long as you expect. Now, unfortunately, you'll tend to adapt to the good things in your life more quickly than the bad because of the creeping toll of normalcy and your ever-increasing expectations for more. So if your wellbeing practices ever feel like they've stopped working, there's nothing wrong with you or with the practice itself. It's just telling you that it's time to mix it up, to try something new, to remember why these activities were meaningful and be grateful for what they're bringing into your life so that they can continue to be effective for your wellbeing over time. And this is why I'm introducing you today to my tested practical toolkit of approaches so you've got plenty of options to play with. You see, like many of you, I spent most of my life functioning, but not really flourishing. I was doing okay. There were real glimpses of joy in there, but most of the time, I have to be honest, I felt like I was just getting by. That was just life, right? That was just what being a grown-up was. And it wasn't until I began to really flounder trying to keep up with the life I'd created, a big job, a young family, and the constant fear that I wasn't really good enough and someone was going to figure that out at any moment, that it started to get harder and harder to find the energy to get out of bed. And that was when I finally got curious about what it would really take to more consistently flourish. Now, at this stage, although I was really struggling, I wasn't that interested in improving my well-being. You see, I've always been a big believer that if you're going to do something, do it properly. I mean, why settle for well-being if you can be happy with a capital H? You know, that kind of happiness that never, ever fades, no matter what's going on in your life. And that was when I stumbled onto the science of positive psychology, which in its early days was doing a booming trade in finding ways to make people happier. Tell you how relieved I was. Clearly, this is what I'd been missing. There were proven ways to be happy. I had to wonder why nobody had told me such a thing sooner. So full of enthusiasm, I set off to study my master's in positive psychology with Professor Martin Seligman so I could finally figure out how to be happy with a capital H, only to be told on the first day of class that he was throwing out his theory of happiness and instead investing in a theory of well-being. Oh, and by the way, that good science is never proven. What? Now, by the end of the year, I discovered that Marty was right. There was something much richer to be playing for than just happiness. What he'd given me with his PERMA theory of well-being was a roadmap to help me navigate the natural highs and lows we all experience at work and in life. The only problem I soon realised was that I still didn't really have a practical set of tools to confidently get me from functioning to consistently flourishing. I began playing. And today I want to give you everything you need to apply these evidence-based, busy-proof practices and the tools in your own work and life as well. And the good news is not only do the approaches I'm going to share with you work for me, but they've worked for thousands of the employees, leaders, entrepreneurs, teachers and coaches I've taught them to as well. And this is why I've been asked to repeatedly share these experiences for publications like Forbes, the Harvard Business Review, the Wall Street Journal, and many more. Because today's workshop isn't just about a roadmap for wellbeing, but a range of tested practical tools that you can immediately apply to start feeling better and functioning more effectively. Most of us could do with some simple ways to have a little more energy, a little more confidence, and yes, even a little more happiness at work. Now, I share all of this not to boast, but to reassure you that what I'm showing you today is credible and at least worth you trying. So grab your playbook and your pen and let's dive on into the first pillar on Marty's wellbeing roadmap, cultivating positive emotions. Now, Professor Daniel Goleman, one of the world's leading researchers in emotional and social intelligence, suggests that 20 to 30% of business performance is determined by people's mood. Now think about that for a moment. 20 to 30% is a significant improvement to be playing for. But do you or your team have a mood strategy each day at work? The reason mood may impact your performance so drastically is that researchers like Professor Barbara Fredrickson have discovered that heartfelt positive emotions like joy, interest, pride, and amusement change the way your brain is working. For example, they seem to broaden your mind by expanding your field of peripheral vision so you can see more of what's happening around you. They flood your brain with the feel-good chemicals of dopamine and serotonin, which studies suggest may help you to process new information more quickly, do better on complex problem solving and analysis, and think more creatively. Brain feels safe, so you can think more in terms of we and a little less about me, making it easier to ask for help, to collaborate, and to co-create with others. And as these emotions accrue over time, it also appears that they're a little like money in the bank for a rainy day, with Barb's studies finding that the accumulation of heartfelt positive emotions can help to build your psychological, intellectual, physical, and social resources. Now, I want to be clear here. Not for a moment am I advocating that you get rid of negative emotions like sadness, anger, guilt, anxiety, or fear. You have these emotions for good reasons, and I'm sure you've found in the past that sometimes these emotions offer really important learning and growth experiences. What I am suggesting is that it helps to be aware that these emotions do different things to your brain and can impact your performance. So while it seems positive emotions broaden your brain, negative emotions and neutral emotions tend to narrow your brain in so you can focus on just what's immediately in front of you and kick you a little bit into that survival mode where it becomes more all about you. Barb suggests that when it comes to improving your well-being, your goal for this pillar should be to uncover what the ideal balance of heartfelt positive emotions and heart-straining negative emotions looks like for you on your best days. And she suggests you think of this like levity and gravity. Too much levity, just like too many heartfelt positive emotions, and you risk floating away from reality. But too much gravity, just like too many heart-straining negative emotions, and you risk being left flat on the floor and unable to get up. And this, of course, is exactly what happens for people experiencing depression. They struggle to get out of bed. Now, you can figure out where your ideal ratio between heartfelt positivity and heart-straining negativity lies by visiting positivityratio.com and taking Barb's free 2-minute survey for at least a week, even 2 weeks if you can, to make sure one day isn't throwing you too far one way or the other. Look at your results each day. I want you to start noticing what's creating the heartfelt positivity for you and how can you intentionally invest a little more time in these activities, particularly when you're needing a boost. And let me give you a little tip here. There is a reason that why cat videos are so popular on YouTube. I also, though, want you to try to notice what's creating the heart-straining negativity and how you might intentionally avoid, minimize, or better prepare yourself for these experiences if they're not a healthy part of your learning and growth. Now, if cultivating more heartfelt positivity sounds like a way you'd like to improve your well-being, then note this down on page 7 in your playbook. So let's keep moving forward on Marty's Wellbeing Roadmap and explore his second pillar, creating opportunities for engagement. Now, in a study with more than 20,000 people around the world, in all sorts of professions and at all sorts of job levels, the Corporate Leadership Council found that when managers had a performance conversation with their staff that focused on building their strengths, the things they were good at and enjoyed doing, on average for a period of time after this conversation, people's performance improved by 36%. If the manager had a performance conversation that focused more on their staff's weaknesses, the things that needed fixing, on average for the same period of time after this conversation, people's performance declined by 27%. Now that's a massive difference. A 36% improvement in performance or a 27% decline, all for the sake of a feedback conversation that every manager should be having. So what's going on here? Well, it turns out that your strengths, the things you're good at and enjoy doing, represent the way your brain is wired to perform at its best. Over time, you've practiced these thoughts, feelings, and behaviors so often that you've built up the neural pathways in your brain to make their use more engaging, more energizing, and more enjoyable. They literally light you up. Now, unfortunately, the same is also true of your weaknesses. When it comes to those things you don't do so well right now, it's because you haven't yet built up the neural wiring in your brain to effectively support these actions. Now, the good news is you can train your brain to build new neural pathways. And while researchers are still hotly debating how long this might take, some of the popular estimates suggest that really mastering a new behaviour may take up to 8,000 to 10,000 hours of deliberate practice. Now, to put that number into context, that would be a couple of hours every day for about 8 to 10 years to really turn a weakness into a strength. And I'm guessing when it comes to improving your well-being and performance at work, you're probably hoping for a little quicker return on your efforts than that, and your boss probably is as well if you have one. Now, if you're going to use your strengths to create opportunities to be really engaged in what you're doing, then how can you pull this off? Well, the first step is to know what your strengths are. So just quickly, off the top of your head, I want you to type into the chat box now for me, what are your top 5 strengths, the things you're good at and enjoy doing? And if you can't get all 5, that's okay. Feel free to put in as many as you can think about. And you either know these or you don't. So don't overthink this too much. Right now, in that chat box, please type in your top strengths. 5 if you can, but 1, 2, 3, 4 is fine as well. Those things you are good at and actually enjoy doing in your work. What lights you up when it comes to the work that you do? So again, as you do that, I'm going to grab a quick sip of peppermint tea and then we'll see what strengths you have to share. So I can see some starting to pop up. I can see creativity. We've got curiosity, being able to see positive things, being able to find patterns in things. We've got some VIA character strengths coming up: love, kindness, perseverance, teamwork and honesty. Fantastic. Thanks, Donna. Vanessa's saying objectivity. What else have people got? I can see some talents coming up from the Gallup Strengths Finder. So future-focused, woo, strategist, communication and activator. I can see other more general strengths, creating and improving professional tools, for example. Kindness, empathy coming up. Fantastic. So some of you are easily naming all 5 and you're using those strengths from tools like the VIA survey or Gallup Strengths Finder. And others of you are getting 2 or 3 there and they're more generally named, which is absolutely fine as well, like helping others, making a difference, attention to detail. And for some of you, there's more 1 in there. And I'm sure some of you are perhaps still scratching your head, quite wondering what you're going to type in. And that is all okay. That's no worries at all. Because the truth is, studies have found that most of us are a little bit blind to what we do best. So if you're going to be more strengths focused, the first step is getting clear on what they are and how these strengths show up in your work or your life by starting to really tune into the moments where you are more engaged, energized and enjoying what you're doing, where you feel lit up. Because I promise in these moments, you will find 1 or more of your top strengths in action. And this makes it easy to start identifying more ways you can create these moments as you go through your days. The second step, though, is to ensure you're using your strengths intelligently. And this means also noticing where your strengths might be underplayed or overplayed and how this robs you for opportunities for engagement. So generally, you'll know your strengths are being underplayed when you find yourself hesitating, procrastinating, or lacking the confidence to turn your thoughts into action. So when I find the same thing showing up on my to-do list day after day, I know I'm underplaying my strengths and I need to look for a way I could use a strength to make that action more joyful so I can just get on with it. You'll also notice when you're overplaying your strengths, because these are the moments when you feel like everything should be going really well. Your strengths feel like a great match for the tasks you're undertaking, but things just aren't quite coming together the way you hoped. Perhaps it feels like your strengths are misfiring, or other people are even complaining about what you're doing, or you feel on the verge of burning yourself out. So people with the strength of honesty, for example, often tell me that they've been given feedback about overplaying this strength and being a little too blunt with others. People with the strength of humour all have stories about making a joke at the wrong time. And people with the strengths of kindness or love often feel like they're giving and giving to everybody else until there's nothing left for themselves. So just as you need to tune into where you're using your strengths well, you also want to be aware of the moments when you need to dial your strengths up or dial your strengths down to improve your well-being and performance. Now, to help you get started, you can figure out what your strengths are by taking the free 10-minute VIA survey at viacharacter.org. Now, this tool will help you identify your character strengths like curiosity, creativity, bravery, and the like. And these strengths shape how you like to go about your work and your life because they're aligned to the values that you hold. And if you're looking for ways you might be underplaying or overplaying your strengths, then grab the free ebook at our website, michellemcquaid.com. Can you do more of what you do best? And this has lots of examples to guide you on ways you can use those VIA strengths, particularly in workplaces. So if creating more opportunities for engagement sounds like a way you'd like to improve your well-being, then note this down on page 7 in your playbook. Marty's Wellbeing Roadmap and explore his third pillar, investing in positive relationships. Now, Dr. George Valiant is famous for overseeing one of the longest psychological studies of all time. The Grant study began in 1938 and it followed 268 Harvard undergraduate men for 75 years. And every 2 years, they were measured on an astonishing range of psychological, anthropological, and physical traits to try and determine what factors contribute most strongly to human flourishing. Now, they measured everything from personality type to IQ, drinking habits, family relationships, and even the hanging length of his scrotum. Yes, I kid you not. And George sums up everything they learnt like this. 75 years of research proved one very important thing. Our relationships with other people matter and matter more than anything else in the world. And I have to agree. One of the very best parts of the work I get to do are the wonderful team of people you can see here in this photo with me at our monthly Chicks, Chicken and Champagne get-together. Now, why might other people matter, not just to me, but to you as well? Well, the truth is you have a biological need for social support, and each time you joyfully connect with another person, the pleasure-inducing hormone oxytocin is released into your bloodstream, immediately reducing your levels of anxiety and improving your concentration and focus. But how can you pull off authentic, positive connections with others if you're not naturally extroverted or you spend a lot of your day with people you don't really get along with? Now, the good news is Professor Barb Fredrickson, whose research we explored earlier, has found that it takes just a micro moment to genuinely connect with somebody in ways that can improve your well-being. You see, her study suggests that a positive emotion shared is much better than a positive emotion experienced alone. And this is particularly true if you can synchronize your bio-behaviors by making eye contact or matching your body language or your vocal tone to the person that you're interacting with. Now, she explains that in these moments of positivity resonance, you mirror the way each other's feeling, you mirror the way each other's brains and bodies are working, and as a result, you start to see the other person as an extension of yourself, creating an upward spiral of warmth and trust between you. I'm poor, natural introvert. One of my favourite ways to invest in micro moments of positivity resonance is by asking the people I interact with each day, from my dry cleaner to my team members and my kids, appreciative questions. Now, an appreciative question is a question that looks for the true, the good, and the possible in somebody, like, what went well today? What lit you up this week? What are you hoping for on the weekend? What have you really been enjoying lately? These are questions that for 99.9% of the people will elicit a story that allows them to share and savor a positive emotion with you, making it easy for you to make eye contact or match their body language or vocal tone as this connection unfolds. And again, you will get somebody who says nothing. Nothing's going well right now. I'm not looking forward to anything. Life is terrible. And I trust in these moments that that's the conversation this person needs to have with you rather than worrying about positively resonating. So if this is a pillar in which you want to invest, try to start asking one person each day an appreciative question. And notice what happens for you as you ask. Notice what happens for them, and notice what happens in your relationship over time. So if investing more in your relationship sounds like a way you'd like to improve your well-being, then note this down on page 7 in your playbook. Now let's take the next step forward on Marty's Wellbeing Roadmap and explore his fourth pillar, meaning. Now, Professor Adam Grant at Wharton Business School suggests that the single strongest predictor of meaningfulness is the belief that your job has a positive impact on others. universal need to feel like what you do matters and that your hard work isn't futile. And when you can find a sense of meaning in your work, Professor Michael Steger's studies suggest that you're likely to feel happier, more motivated, more committed, and more satisfied, all of which enables you to perform better. Fortunately, studies by Professor Amy Ranuski, try saying that 10 times quickly, suggest that meaning can be found in any job. For example, it turns out that while some hospital janitors see their work as sweeping the floors, dusting and emptying waste baskets for patients as simply a job, it's a means to a paycheck, others see it as a career, a step up on the way to something better, and at least a third of hospital janitors see their tasks as a calling. Now, how? Well, they believe that their work is essential to helping people recover from illness by ridding the hospital of dangerous germs. And this belief makes their job not only more bearable, but more enjoyable as well. The difference is that instead of simply thinking of their jobs as what they do or how they work, they understand why their job makes a positive difference for others. And this is what can make even the mundane meaningful for each of us. So how can you apply this to the work you do each day? Dr. Tel Ben-Shahar suggests rewriting your job description into a calling description by grabbing a piece of paper and noting down a job task that feels devoid of meaning for you right now. For example, as an introvert, I really struggle to prioritise spending time sharing things I'm doing on social media. And yet this is a key activity for our growing business to be of service. So on the left-hand side of the page, I'd write down sharing on social media. Then Tel suggests asking, well, what's the purpose of this task? Who does it help? And drawing an arrow to the right and writing the answer down. So for me, for example, posting on social media helps our wonderful tribe, people just like you, discover new evidence-based ways they can improve their well-being at work. And if what's written still doesn't feel meaningful enough to really get you engaged in the task, then Tel suggests asking, well, what does this result lead to? And drawing another arrow and writing down your thoughts once more. So, for example, sharing evidence-based ideas for well-being on social media hopefully leads to more people flourishing at work and a better world for all of us. And that certainly is what keeps me posting on social media, along with the odd nudge from my team whenever I'm feeling a bit shy. Now, if you don't strike a meaningful aha at this point, you can keep working through this same process, asking what does this lead to and who does it help, until you find a meaningful result and can see how this task makes a positive difference for others around you. So finding the right balance of meaning is a pillar in which you want to invest. You can use this activity at work or at home to find the purpose in small tasks. But by chance, you're not struggling with having too little meaning, but too much meaning at work, and this is putting you at risk of burning yourself out, then I'm going to recommend you head to michellemcquaid.com and type Robert Vallerand in the search bar at the top of the page for some great interviews I've recently done with Professor Robert Vallerand on how you can cultivate more harmonious rather than obsessive passions. So if improving your sense of meaning right now sounds like a way you'd like to improve your well-being, then note this down on page 7 in your playbook. And now we've arrived at the final step forward on Marty's wellbeing roadmap, his 5th pillar, accomplishing what matters most to you. And I have to be honest, there are so many great tools to choose from here that it's hard to give you one, but I want to share with you one of the favourites I've been playing with recently. Now, when it comes to accomplishing what matters most to us, Dr. Kristen Neff suggests it's important to recognise that losses will occur. You will make mistakes, you'll bump up against your limitations, and you'll fall short of your ideals sometimes. And that this is the human condition. It's a reality that's shared by all of us. You see, while many of us let self-criticism run wild in our minds when things aren't going well, and we say things to ourselves, we'd be ashamed if anybody heard, like, you're not good enough, you're so lazy, you're such an idiot, as a way to try and use fear and shame to motivate ourselves. Long term, it seems that this may actually do more harm than good. For example, in one set of studies following hundreds of people trying to meet a wide range of goals, from losing weight to pursuing academic goals, improving social relationships or their performance, the researchers found that the more people criticise themselves, the slower their progress over time and the less likely they were to achieve the goals they'd set. And neuroscientists suggest that this is because self-criticism actually shifts your brain into a state of self-inhibition and self-punishment that leaves you feeling threatened and demoralized and causes you to disengage from your goals, to put the brakes on taking action, and to leave you stuck in a cycle of rumination, procrastination, and self-loathing. And I think we've all had those moments. So what might self-compassion offer as an alternative? Well, Kristen and her colleagues have found that when we treat ourselves like a wise and kind friend or mentor might, it can help to break our entrenched patterns of self-criticism while still allowing us to be honest about our fears. Now, let me be clear, this isn't about giving yourself permission to not show up or letting yourself off the hook or to blame others. Rather, it helps you to see things in a more clear and balanced way, to remember that no one's perfect, that we are all learning, and to be kind and understanding and accountable to yourself on that journey. You see, it's important to understand that those voices of self-criticism aren't really trying to harm you, but they're often unnecessarily harsh in a misguided effort to protect you. So instead of taming, shaming, or blaming these voices for undermining your confidence, self-compassion has been found to help you reduce your levels of stress, anxiety, and self-doubt by allowing you to see these voices for what they are. Just stories about the things that you fear and not the truth about who you are or what you're capable of. And as a result, studies have also found that self-compassion helps us to generate more positive feelings that balance out your fears, allow you to feel more joyous, calm, and confident. It helps you to activate your brain's caregiving and self-awareness systems, making it easier to believe that you are capable and worthy, making you less self-conscious, less likely to compare yourself to others, and less likely to feel insecure. And far from being self-indulgent or soft, the deliberate use of self-compassionate talk has been found to be an effective means of enhancing your motivation, your performance, your resilience, and your well-being. Now, if you're looking for ways to fuel your self-compassion, head to selfcompassion.org, where Kristen has a wonderful selection of tools, from short self-compassion meditations to journaling exercises and other activities that you can easily play with. And one of my favourites is at work, when that inner critic's really firing up and taking over my brain, is simply the power of placing one hand on top of the opposite wrist and taking some deep, slow breaths for at least 7 seconds so that I can generate some oxytocin, that calming hormone, back into my bloodstream, and then talk to myself like a wise and kind friend might in that moment so I can respond better to whatever is freaking me out. So if improving your ability to accomplish what matters most to you right now sounds like a way you'd like to improve your well-being, then I want you to note this down on page 7 in your playbook. Phew. Now that's a bit to take in. So I'm going to suggest we all take a nice deep slow breath together as that settles into our brains. So as you're ready, take a nice deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And as you look at what's there on page 7 that you might have been noting as we've gone about the pillars you want to work on, I'd love to know what's coming up for you. In particular, if there were 1 or 2 pillars you want to prioritise to get started over these next few months, where would you like to start? And again, I'll get you to type them into the chat window for me. If you could just focus on 1 or 2 pillars for the next couple of months to really help improve your sense of well-being. Did you want to spend some time looking at how to generate more positive emotions? Is it creating more opportunities for engagement? Is it improving your relationships, getting your balance of meaning right, or perhaps accomplishing more of the things that matter most to you? So as you're ready, I'll get you to type them again into your chat window. It'll help me just tailor the rest of what's coming to see what's there. And as you do that, I'm going to have another sip of peppermint tea. So I can see those starting to pop up now. We've got relationships and accomplishment from Wendy, relationships and meaning from Vanessa, relationships, a popular theme tonight, accomplishment also starting to pop up. Thanks, Jane. Keep typing them in there. Which are the pillars that you most want to focus on over these coming months? Positive emotions, fantastic. Self-compassion, I think self-compassion is a great one to focus on. Relationships, definitely. Relationships and accomplishment coming up, fantastic. So I can see we're spread right across those pillars, which is a great place to be. I do, though, recommend, in order to create success and confidence so you can take the long-term view of your wellbeing journey, start small as we come through these next steps. Just start with 1 or 2 pillars, and then you can always go on and do more as you build up your confidence and capability. And to help you get really clear on where you start on this journey, I have included 2 extra questions on that page for you to reflect on after today's workshop. And the first one is, how do you think it would feel to be flourishing in these areas, both personally and professionally? And the second, why would this make a meaningful difference in your life? And you can jot some notes in there as soon as we finish today if you want, or if you really want to create a vivid, positive image that'll pull you forward into positive action over the coming days and weeks and months around your wellbeing, then I recommend taking some time over the coming days and just journaling a stream of consciousness as you answer these questions for about 15 to 20 minutes if you can. That way, not only do you deal with all those thoughts that have been maybe popping around for a while, but it gives you some space to dig a little deeper into the subconscious about why prioritising your wellbeing would really be worth doing. And as you do so, try to be as vivid as possible. Think about what it would look like, sound like, feel like, what you'd be proud of achieving, what other people might notice and be happy for you around if you really prioritise these areas of your wellbeing over the coming months. And then, of course, you've got to find time to fit it in. So I promised if you stayed to the end of the workshop, I give you the busy proof and joyful secret to making every day an opportunity to flourish, and I haven't forgotten. And I don't want you to leave without having one small way you can immediately put some of these ideas we've discussed into action. But I've also noticed for many of the people I teach in workplaces or coach privately that even when they've uncovered this secret I'm about to share and they're seeing great results from it, there's usually one thing they always come back and ask me for. And I don't want to set you up in any way for disappointment. So before I reveal this secret to making your wellbeing busy, proof and joyful, I want to offer you one more tool to help improve your wellbeing. So what people come back and ask me for again and again is, where can I learn more about these evidence-based approaches to wellbeing, and what are the practical ways to apply them? Now, it's as a result of many of your requests for this kind of support that today I'm thrilled to announce we're opening the Wellbeing Lab. Ta-da! Now, this is a series of online positive psychology workshops done for you tools and resources and live group coaching calls with me that give you everything you need to improve wellbeing for yourself and for others as well. And here's why I think you'll love it. I know many of you are looking for easy, affordable and joyful ways you can learn to personally and professionally flourish. I mean, just imagine what life would be like if you had the knowledge, the tools and the support to confidently navigate the natural highs and lows of your work and life. Imagine the sense of freedom, the energy, the satisfaction it would bring not to be constantly worrying about what life might next throw at you. Well, in the Wellbeing Lab, I'll be helping you uncover what the latest research in positive psychology is finding and the practices you can pull apart and play with to create these kind of lasting changes around your own wellbeing. There'll be 6 workshops that allow you to take a deeper dive into each of the PERMA pillars that we've been exploring today. And I will not let you leave these workshops without actions that you can apply immediately. And you can join us for individual workshops. So if you just want to know more about cultivating heartfelt positivity or accomplishing the things that matters most to you, you can absolutely do that. Or you can save yourself some money and grab yourself a seat for the whole series. And if you can't join us live for the workshops, you don't need to worry. The recordings are made immediately available as soon as the live workshops finish, so you can watch them at any time. Each of you would like to not just improve your own wellbeing, but to teach others to do the same, be it your team, your clients, your boss, or your friends and your family. So I've set up the Wellbeing Lab to make this as easy as possible. Not only do I give you the video and the audio recordings of each workshop so you can watch them anywhere, but I also include the transcript, my slides, and done for you tools to play with and to share with others. And you have my blessing to steal any of these materials with pride if you want to help others to flourish. In fact, I'd be honoured if you paid forward this work to help others in any way you can. I truly believe the world needs this work now more than ever. So finally, many of you have also told me that while you love playing with the ideas and practices of positive psychology, fitting it in and sticking with it can be pretty challenging. So one of the other reasons I think you'll love the Wellbeing Lab is we've set it up to give you the kind of support, coaching and accountability you cannot get anywhere else right now. Now, I know that's a big claim, and there are lots of wonderful positive psychology programs all over the world, but as far as I'm aware, the Wellbeing Lab is the only place where, in addition to the workshops, done for you tools and resources, you get the bonuses of live group coaching calls with me to answer any of your questions and to help hold you accountable, and an online private members group where you can join other like-minded people who are passionate about improving well-being and willing to share with each other their favourite resources, best practices, to celebrate your success and to lift you up when things don't go to plan. So if you've ever wished you could pick my brain about how I personally apply positive psychology practices for myself, my clients, my team or my family, you can pick away every single month for a fraction of the price of private coaching. So what do you think? Would being able to access a monthly 90-minute online workshop where you can dig more deeply into the latest positive psychology research and practices around each of these wellbeing pillars and walk away with done-for-you tools and resources to use for yourself and your teams be helpful? Would having some built-in coaching and social support help you really create some of the positive changes that you've been trying to make for yourself and others? Are you ready to make the choices that will help you live towards the top of your wellbeing range so you can consistently flourish and help others do the same? Well, if you buy a seat for the full Wellbeing Lab series before the countdown clock below this video expires, I'm going to give you an extra special bonus. It's my $97 Wellbeing Coach in a Box toolkit that includes a training video, ebook and done for you coaching worksheets so that you've got everything you need to help others improve their well-being as you move through the program. Now, this is particularly helpful if you're wanting to coach others around improving their well-being because you have my complete permission to steal all of this content with pride and use it to further your own practice. But you do have to sign up for the whole Wellbeing Lab series before the countdown clock for the Coach in a Box offer expires below. Now, if you're wondering if the Wellbeing Lab will really work, let me introduce you to Amanda, a partner in a law firm and mum to 2 beautiful young kids who's been working through this process with me over the last 6 months. Now, when Amanda first came to me, she felt exhausted and burnt out most of the time, and she really wasn't sure what to do to get her energy back. And here's how Amanda explains the impact our work has had. Michelle taught me how to take care of my own well-being first, helping me build a new foundation of habits and getting me comfortable saying no more often so I could make room in my life for the things I value most. Now, I'm really enjoying teaching my children and work colleagues how to develop their strengths, and I'm about to embark upon a master's in positive psychology. And Beck, when she came to me, was learning all she could about positive psychology and trying to find ways to use it in her work as a facilitator and coach. But she wasn't entirely confident about how to put the pieces together for herself or for others. But after working together through the kind of steps we'll be using in the Wellbeing Lab, Beck explains, Michelle was incredibly helpful at helping me map out a plan of practical steps that I could take to reach my goals and to fit those steps into my already hectic life. Figuring out how to practically apply positive psychology is one of her specialties. She helps you take away the excuses and gives you a variety of different ways to optimize your chance of success and achieve everything you want. Here's the thing. I am so confident that if you show up to the workshops or watch the replays, if you play with the tools and you reach out to me in the coaching calls or private members group, that I can help you to improve your well-being and help other people as well, that I am happy to give you a no questions asked, money back guarantee if you don't feel what you're learning is making any difference. Why do I believe so strongly the Wellbeing Lab can really help improve your well-being? Because after teaching the science and practices of positive psychology in workshops around the world, I figured out the most effective ways to help busy people just like you create the lasting changes so they can really flourish consistently. And that's why in the Wellbeing Lab I'm giving you evidence-based 90-minute workshops once a month that you can attend live or you can grab the replay. Remember, you can invest in the whole series or you can purchase individual workshops on your favourite topics. I'm giving you done-for-you tools to apply what you're learning immediately after these workshops because the research suggests that if you don't take action in 24 to 48 hours after a training or coaching session, then you're unlikely to. You generally need a whole nother kick up the pants to get going again. I'm giving you 60-minute live group coaching calls with me 2 weeks after each of these workshops, so you've had time to pull it apart and play with it, see what works, and be held accountable for creating the changes. And if you can't join us live for these coaching calls, don't worry. You can email us in questions. We'll answer them on the call for you. And again, these are recorded, so you can listen to them at any time. We're giving you the online private community, so you've got people every day to support you on your journey. And I've got ways to share with you all the other resources and tools that I love, so you can keep playing with these ideas. And the Wellbeing Lab can be joined from anywhere in the world. If you're with us now, you already have all the technology you need and you have lifetime access to all these materials. So it doesn't matter if you're not up to speed every month, you can take your time through the Wellbeing Lab as you like, and you can revisit it as often as you want. And again, please steal with pride all the materials that are in there and pay them forward to help others as well. Probably wondering exactly, well, what will this cost me, Michelle? And can I afford to be part of such a program? And I think this is the very best part of all. So you might know that I'm truly committed to finding ways to make the research and practices of positive psychology as affordable and accessible to as many people as I can, because I know the difference it can make, and I truly believe the future of our world depends on more of us having these skills. So if you join the Wellbeing Lab before our early bird price expires, you can join us for our next workshop for just $97. Or you can grab your guaranteed seat for the series of 6 workshops for just $497 today. And at that price, you're even getting 1 workshop entirely free. And remember, if you grab your spot before the countdown clock for the Wellbeing Coach in a Box expires below, you'll get this extra bonus worth $97 as well. And remember, my prices are always in Australian dollars, so if you're in the US or the UK, then these prices are going to be considerably lower when you check out. All you need to do is click the buttons below this video to purchase the option that works best for you right now. You're absolutely worthy of feeling more confident, energized, and satisfied when it comes to the work you're doing each day and the life you're living. Trust your instincts. Know that you are here today for a reason. If it feels like the right fit for you, grab your spot now. If you stay to the end of the webinar, I give you the busy proof and joyful secret to making every day an opportunity to flourish, and here it is. The secret lies in creating small, daily well-being habits. Now, before you groan, oh, really, Michelle, habits? Let me tell you that researchers have found that about 40% of your day, around 6 hours, is mere habit. And some of them, perhaps like your daily coffee, are quite enjoyable ones. So all I want you to do is claim at least 5 or 10 minutes of that time back to do something good for yourself. I mean, what do you have to lose just for 1 week? I want you to take 5 to 10 minutes a day to play with one well-being habit. And in fact, many of the ideas we've been talking about today, like asking appreciative questions, can be fitted into the things you're already having to do each day anyway. Now, to make this habit as easy, joyful, and effective as possible, here's how you can work with your brain rather than against it. So researchers have discovered that your habits run on a simple neurological loop of a cue, something that triggers that habit off, like a regular time of day, a routine, which is the habit itself, and a reward, something that gives you a charge of that feel-good chemical dopamine to your brain. So next time the habit goes off, you'll want to start the habit loop all over again and again and again, just to keep getting that reward. So on page 8 of your playbook, I've explained exactly how this habit loop works and ways that you can create an effective cue and a reward. These are really the keys to getting the habit right. The routine isn't so hard. You want to make sure you've got an effective cue and a really good reward. In fact, a reward so good, you will go through the habit just to get to the reward. And throughout this session and on page 9 in your playbook, I've given you suggestions of some of the evidence-based habits you might want to try when it comes to improving your well-being. And on page 10 in your playbook, you'll find a chart where you can map out your well-being habit, and I'm going to suggest that you put this up somewhere where you can see it easily. So maybe on the fridge or on your bathroom mirror, but somewhere you can see it each day. If you wanted to create more heartfelt positivity, your habit might be triggered off by a cue of brushing your teeth and getting ready for bed. The routine of completing the free positivityratio.com survey we spoke about earlier and noting what's created heartfelt positivity or heart-straining negativity for you today, and thinking about ways you could improve it tomorrow. And then your reward could be going to bed. And you will not get into that bed unless your habit has been completed or you know that you'll be cheating yourself. So think about this as a small gift that you are giving yourself each day because you're absolutely worth it. So as we finish up, I want you to make sure that you've got at least one wellbeing habit you can start playing with in the next 24 to 48 hours. Remember, if you don't do it in that window, it will be harder to get started. And if you're getting stuck at all, you can head on over to PERMAH, P-E-R-M-A-H, survey.com. This is a great free tool that I've created with the wonderful Dr. Peggy Kern, where you can actually measure how you're doing in each of Marty's wellbeing pillars. You can set some small and manageable goals and then access a database with more than 200 different positive psychology interventions for which there is a suggested habit for every single one. Okay, so with all of that said, I want you to remember that all you need to do is click the buttons below this video to grab your place right now in the Wellbeing Lab. You can dip your toe in the water and join us for our next workshop coming up at that single workshop price, or dive right in and purchase your spot for the entire series. And if you buy your spot for the entire series right now, you'll get instant access to any of the workshops we've already recorded. You'll be able to join us live for the live coaching calls that are still coming up. You'll get immediate membership into our vibrant Facebook community where people are sharing best practice with each other, and you can pick my brains at any time. And if you join us before that countdown clock below runs out, you'll also get our Wellbeing Coach in the Box offer. So grab your spot now. Thank you so much for being here today. It's been an absolute honor to share this time with you, and I so value your willingness to try and find ways to improve your well-being so you can more consistently feel good and function effectively as you navigate your work and your life and help others to do the same. After all, as Nelson Mandela wisely said, there is no passion to be found playing small in settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living. Or, as Charles Schulz put it, life is like a 10-speed bicycle. Most of us have gears we never use. Don't let this be your story. Until next time, take care.